Hey there, kiddos, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, and today you are having a great day. And in today's video, I'd like to sit back in my very squeaky chair, relax, and have a little conversation with all of you guys about your collection. Yeah, that's right. You see, I'd like to open this video up with a question for you guys, and feel free to leave your answer in the comments section below. But I gotta know, are you immortal? Are you planning on living forever? Will you outlast everybody else on the planet? I'm going to go off on a limb here and guess that the answer is no. If it's yes, I'd like to know your secret, but most likely it is no. We are not immortal. We do not last forever. Many men have tried to find the secret to immortality, and the fact of life is, have fun, because you ain't going to make it out alive. A parallel fact to that statement is an understanding. You are not the final stop of your collection. You are not the end point of your collection. And for a lot of people, sure, that can seem like, obvious. Human nature dictates that our collectibles, our possessions, don't go with us into the grave, unless you're a pharaoh, I suppose. But for the most part, your collection does not. You don't take it with you, wherever you end up going next. And as a result, there's a lot of people who tend to forget, that as a result of this hobby being kind of in the moment, I should say. If everything's very in the moment with this hobby. What cards you collecting next? What video games you picking up next? All that jazz. What are you adding to your collection next? But it's not your collection. It is now, but it won't always be. It's going to be somebody else's collection, somebody else's games and cards years from now, after you are long gone. And people very much tend to forget that, and they tend to forget the importance of cataloging and organizing. You see, I'm a very strong proponent of, I very firmly believe that you should organize and have a good idea of what's in your collection, but to the best of your ability. You don't have to every dent and scratch accounted for, kind of accounting, right? But you should have a rough idea of, in my opinion, what you own, rough condition, a good idea of the price of the items in your collection, where they're at, how you're storing them, where you can be found. Because at the end of the day, that can make a huge world of difference when it comes time to part with that collection. Whether you are the one parting with that collection, or whether it's your family or loved ones doing it on your behalf. You see, I hear all the time, there's countless stories online, okay, of either children who are left with their parents' belongings after their passing, or individuals who something comes up, an important bill, medical or otherwise, comes up in their life, and they have to part with their collection, and they don't have a good idea of where to start. Children are laid down almost by the sheer volume of things that they have to go through that their parents have left behind. Individuals who need to make a quick payment for an important bill don't know what in their collection they could possibly sell to make that bill happen. And to that end, I firmly believe it's important to catalog and organize and know what you have, so that when that time comes, you or the people you leave behind will have a very good starting point to making that sale or that post-mortem parting easier, more convenient. Or a well-organized collection, a well-cataloged collection, can be the difference between, tossing out junk or throwing it in a garage sale versus having a big paycheck afterwards. You hear all kinds of stories of people who show up at yard sales and hit a cool score because the person doing the sale has no idea what they're dealing with. Video games, card games, whatever. It's not just in the world of collectibles, of course. In the world of automobile parts, there's all kinds of stories you can see of people who, you know, their dad was into vintage motorcycles, but there's a bunch of parts lying around the house and they don't want them, so they sell them off at a garage sale, and it turns out some of those parts were pretty valuable. Old Harley Davidson pieces. Nice stuff. You know, you hear all kinds of stories of garage sales where vintage video games are found for a fraction of their market value. And cards are found for a fraction of their market value. It used to be very popular to hear about, like, I don't think I've heard about it in a long time, but I do remember a bunch of tales of, like, yeah, I found my dual land at a garage sale. I'm like, well, screw you, guy. That's rough. It's highway robbery right there. You know, life changes fast. Life changes fast, and I'm reminded of this often enough because I do interact with I see a lot going on in the world, and you know, you may need to sell items in your collection to pay a bill, or more solemnly, your family might need to sell things you leave behind to cover costs. And there are a lot of costs, trust me on that one. Nothing's, I believe it was Franklin said, nothing in life is certain but death and taxes. But he forgot all the fees that are associated with death, because there are a lot. You know, having, again, you don't have to have like you don't have to have mountains of Excel spreadsheets telling you guys telling your descendants or whatever exactly where to find everything. But if you have like a collection tracker that's easily accessible on your computer or through online that tells you, here are the cards he has in this box, or here are the video games he has on this shelf and how much they're worth, that can go a long way. You know, of course, this doesn't have to be for post-mortem sales. This could just be, you need to make a sale quick because you need to cover some bills quick. You know, I was recently compelled to actually go through my video game collection and start listing and organizing and cataloging what I've got and how much they're worth. And I was quite surprised by some of the value in there. And now I know, because of that cataloging, hey, if I need to make a quick sale, there's some video games I could sell off to make a pretty penny in case anything happens in the near future, it's nice to know. It gives you a nice little, in life, it gives you a nice little extra bit of security. So I'm going to leave it at that. This is a bit of a shorter video, but I want to remind you guys that, yes, organizing things for the sake of adding it to your inventory is nice, especially if you're a business. But even if you're not a business, even if you're not in the business of buying and selling cards or buying and selling video games, knowing what you have, whether it's on a deck, a trade binder, or just sitting on a shelf as a video game, knowing what you have, knowing what it's worth, knowing what you can comfortably part with in an emergency, it's powerful, okay? I'm going to leave you guys with that. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below if you agree with me or disagree with me. I'm always curious to, well, hear you guys' thoughts. Check out the Discord, the Patreon, the TCG player link. That's all I got for you kiddos today. Thanks again. Ciao. Boop.